show them what you can do. Show them what you can do, please show them what you can do. I said, in this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do, please show them what you can do. You make this parade a mere charade if you're marching just for fun. Our troops must feel your thanks for real before the marching is done. They know side by side you can match their stride to the drum beat and the brass, but they're not impressed with you unless you can match their stride in class. This may not sound too diplomatic, but I cannot be more emphatic as I tell you, it's problematic when you do less than your best. Especially when it's because you put your brilliance on pause for the mere peer applause it draws from a so-called friend doing less. Quit playing, I'm saying, you know that you are great, and we know it, so show it. Don't make our heroes wait. In this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. For those of you who already do the things that make us proud, your nation in appreciation says thanks to you out loud. Your schoolmates should imitate the way you tap your potential. Let me try to convince them why their effort is essential. Our men and women in uniform, before, during, and after Desert Storm, always perform above the norm, anywhere and everywhere on the planet. They need to follow our heroes' lead, but they cannot lead if they cannot read. Allow me, please, to plant this seed. Don't take freedom for granted. I'm serious, I'm furious to see U.S. schools behind. Remove the clatter, it's just a matter of our making up our minds. In this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. We believe in you, warriors protect you to do what you must to rise. Please do your part. Please start before another warrior dies. In this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. They sacrifice for you. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. Please.
Good afternoon and welcome to Wave Your Grades on KUAW.org, the academic patriotism program that is dedicated to veterans and serious secondary scholars. I am your announcer, DeQuay Wilson. Now here is our host, civilian urban educator, Carl Boyd.
Thank you so very, very much, DeQuay Wilson. Today is not the first Saturday of the month. However, it enjoys a very special privilege on the second Saturday of the month because we have Valencia Broadus. I always assume that there might be representatives from the SMART Club, but Attorney Valencia Broadus, all of them are not always members of the SMART Club, am I to understand, and you stretch out and grab young people from various quarters. So let me let you get us started on this second Saturday of the month. Here is Attorney Valencia Broadus.
Hello to everyone, and this is it's April, y'all. Easter's coming up, graduations are coming up.
That's right.
This summer break is coming, and for the young people, it's a really great time to always give them the reminders about, of course, graduation. Where they're going to go to school? Do they have the money to go to school? Because honestly, getting the students accepted, we have found is sometimes a little easier than making sure that they have the money because, they got to do some things. So students, they can get accepted to colleges, but if they don't have the money, they sometimes still end up staying home or not going, or I'm working for a year And
Yes.
y'all know once you start making money, some good money for a full year, and sometimes it's hard to stop and go back to school. So, um, making sure that they're doing the things to have the money to go to school is a big piece of what we do. We also are starting to do a little bit more of the checking in since a lot of students, they're going to be graduating and they're going to need money so that they can go away, go to school in August, but they need like simple things like maybe they need beds or toiletries or whatever. And
Yes.
so those things normally they may not come out of financial aid yet because they may not get that till after August, the refunds. So we help them to make sure that they're employed over the summer or getting other small amounts of money to help them with those little things of getting ready for the transition, which is good.
Well,
So
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, no, go ahead, please.
You mentioned something that made me think, and that is that there are times when young people who are prepared to go to college find something that might be an impediment, or it might be just a small pit stop for a moment. We used to assume that the best arrival for whatever or wherever young people start after 12th grade is college. But you have taught us, and we learn as we go, that young people have more choices than a singular choice. So, have you found, Attorney Valencia brought us, and you fill in the blank, in these blank years working with young people, that you've had to tutor them in more directions than just what we call traditional?
Absolutely. Sometimes, more often than not now anyway, the students they're taking that year break even before COVID. Students were
Okay.
taking that year break.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, we're saying, okay, you're going to graduate. And often they really weren't preparing to go to work during the break, but that's what's happening. So
Yes.
now we're polishing up resumes like, so are you going to stay at home? Are you going to move out? So
Wow.
helping them with those basic life skills. And so if you're going to be staying at home, you still need to contribute to the bill. So you still need to get a job, but helping them to even during that year, we try to stay with them, keep them busy, volunteering, doing things so that we help them to not lose focus of the goal of going to school if that's what they were doing. But they might need to stay home, for a year and work or something. So that's one piece, that transition year. Another big piece is the military. So we help a lot of our students starting in actually junior year, but even in their sophomore year, sometimes the colleges are coming, not the colleges, the military branches are coming to the schools and recruiting. I mean, a lot of the schools, they have signs, all around, saying, think about this. So we want students to really understand those opportunities as well. So we try to make sure that we're helping them to, meet people, talk to the recruiters, but we do our own research too and talk to
Yes.
other students that we've helped to they've either done ROTC or National Guard, so they can go to school and still do the military stuff on the weekends. Some fully enlist, like we have Mr. Kevon is going to enlist in the Navy, and he'll be leaving January the 6th
Oh,
to
oh, oh boy.
actually, yeah, he's going to the Navy. So we help them to think about those opportunities. Sometimes they're like, I don't want to do either of those. I want to actually get a job. So
Yes.
we help them to, from a financial literacy standpoint, which is what we teach, all along. We help them to think about whatever it is you're going to do, whether it is before graduation or after, what do you have to live off of? So we do a lot of vision boarding and helping them to anticipate what they believe their lifestyle is going to be. And some is based off of what they think they want. So we talk about how do you afford that? So if you're not going to, college or military or whatever's happening, how can we help you in those last 2 years, especially of your high school life, to get prepared for getting those types of jobs, whether it is, normally they don't want fast food normally, but they don't mind like cooking.
Yes,
So, they can get a CNA while they're still in high school. They can get a culinary certificate while they're still in high school. Now a lot of the hair school programs are helping them to get um beautician licenses while they're still in high school. So they can get construction training and the certifications while they're in high school. So that affords them the opportunity to be graduating without going to college or military, any of that. And still now they're skilled because they've got training, not just, some like classroom book certificate. They've got some training. Automotive as well is a good one. They have automotive in school still,
yes,
so they can get out there and apply for these jobs making 40, 50,000 a year,
absolutely.
but they have to have their resumes ready. We network all year long with those industries. Whatever the students' dreams are, we make sure that we're networking with them, going to hang out with them, volunteering when they need us, or whatever,
Yes,
just being visible so they can see
absolutely.
it.
Well, you make me think of a couple of things. One of the things, in as much as from time to time we talk about generations, we talk about age. I am much older, and those of my generation will often go back to the cliche college students typically change their major 4 times before graduating. Now, my generation would look back at that and make a statement like that. Then, Attorney Valencia brought us, we came to a time when we were succumbing to the lifestyles of those younger and saying that you cannot just say 4 times in 4 years things have changed. Well, let me say this from an observational standpoint to you, your generation, and those with whom you work. Now I'm not sure that you can make one statement about changing majors or leaving or waiting a year. What are you running into as you mentor young people preparing for the future today?
In regards to staying task on their majors
Yeah,
or
as a matter of fact, we're talking about changing majors provided that they go to college. But you're telling us today that some are waiting a year or some are getting accustomed to the paycheck and maybe, excuse me, staying in that particular career choice. I could imagine that you will spend a lot of time doing research to help the young people trying to make decisions in the 2020s.
absolutely. I get a new class of students every semester from one of the schools I work with, and often the students that come in thinking they want one thing, which whatever,
Yes,
it is. And because we do the research, we talk about it, we try to meet the people, go to the different places where these types of people work and, all this type of stuff. And so they often will change their mind depending on how long they've had the career dream in the first place.
yes,
And so that's that kind of where we get into that helping students to catch a dream and make it grow. And so if a student doesn't normally have a career goal or career dream by the time they're a freshman or definitely a sophomore in high school, they are more likely to keep changing it because they probably didn't do the research. They probably, whether it's in elementary
mm,
school or middle school, they
right.
weren't connected to enough people, or that dream didn't solidify early enough to where their curiosity,
Yes,
and the
ma'am.
parents' curiosity and everybody's curiosity, got them saying, "Have you met so and so?" young
Yeah,
enough. And
wow.
so an adolescent mind, they're changing their mind about everything all the time anyway. And so if they're only initially starting to really think about their dreams in, sophomore, but definitely junior, senior year, it's more likely to flip in a lot in those 2 years. It can flip 5, 10 times
Yes, ma'am.
because now they're basically being exposed to so many careers because even like a lot of their teachers may have done different things. So every
Yes,
day they can be
yes,
hearing about something else. Oh, I want to do that. I want to do that. So then it's even more important to try to keep them on track with researching every one of those, helping them to do the personality matching test, the skill interest test, so that
Yes.
whatever, so it gets,
Well,
it's a lot. It's
well, let me tell you, and in behalf of DeQuay Wilson and Carl Boyd here, let me say thanks to you in this wise. Oftentimes we are exposed to cliches that may or may not ring true. The reason I want to say thank you to you is because you introduce us to the greatest young people, but you also introduce us to their parents. And the reason I'm saying thank you is because so often we stereotype parents and say we've got to work with these young people because their parents don't care, their parents are not around. And here you are working with tutoring and counseling young people whose parents work two or three jobs, or whose parents are at the meeting with you when the young people are at the meeting, whose parents have to sign those papers when the scholarships come through and all of that. Speak to how much you have to do to engage families and not just the young people with whom you work.
so we have, I think, like a lot of people that do youth development, if
Yes.
family engagement is a priority or a requirement, then you eventually figure out how to make sure the family stay involved, but it has to be a requirement up front. So, for example, there are times even when the kids are on the radio, or here with us, I
Yes.
know that the parents are kind of watching or with them, um,
Yes.
when, for example, we have a group of students now that a big part of what they have to do in this session that I'm teaching them through, they have to basically go and interview family members about
Okay.
Alzheimer's and diabetes and
Wow.
hypertension. So we purposefully make it so that the young people are purposefully interacting with their family about what they're doing. And then that's how I also get to see the feedback. And then parents will text or email and say, I need more information about that, which is great. But we're
Mm-hmm.
making the students the educators of their family, and that helps by doing our programming model that way. I'm sure that the families are engaged because they have to bring back signatures with
Yes,
the
indeed.
presentation and who it was and an email. So they can't just say, "Yeah, I did it," because they know I'm going to follow up and say, "Well, hey, how was that?" We do monthly outings, and one of the things we learned years ago is, you know, transportation is always an issue. But
Mm.
if we go pick up the kids to everything, we also will be taking them home. And that's
Okay.
not a problem because we want to engage with them. But the requirement that we have had for a solid, 8 years is
Yes.
if you get them there, we'll take them home.
Wow.
And so because of that, again, the parents, they know where their kids are coming to. They might stop in. The kids are always riding with the parents. We're on our way, we're on our way. And
Yes.
then no matter where our monthly outing is, we still have okay, beer by a certain time, and we have little prizes. And so they're helping the parents. I gotta get there, mom, dad. Will you pick up my friend? So we purposefully do pieces where we know the parents know what's happening. So
Well, now, by the way, this is Wave Your Grades. We have young people honoring troops, honoring veterans, honoring those who have served and are serving with their excellence. And I am Carl Boyd, your civilian host, along with producer and engineer, announcer, and co host uh, DeQuay Wilson. And wanted to find out from our very special guest, Attorney Valencia, brought us if there is something else you want to engage now, because you made me think of something that I would like to ask as this conversation goes on. But was there something else or someone else you wanted to introduce?
right. So at this moment, I don't see anyone else coming on, but I want to make sure that we're talking about a couple of things that our young people are going to be doing over the summer.
Okay.
Some of them have found jobs, some of them have not. Um, and I'll bring in the event we were at Samuel Rogers, last month.
Yes.
That was a pretty exciting piece, and it fits right in here. What we are doing, what we always do with our young leaders, and Miss Heaven is probably one of the best examples that we see a lot, is
Yes.
we train them to, of course, they have their jobs, but they also have these other dreams. The more creativity that they allow to explode into the universe, we say, wow, you should have your own company and you should do that. You should do that. And so we do a lot of entrepreneurialism training with our young leaders. And we've spent probably the past maybe 5, 6 years a company called SmartCo. And what we do with SmartCo
Hmm.
is our young leaders, based on their skills, whether they're good at sales or production or marketing, or, they're the person that could be in your building helping to greet people. So we help them to help small businesses, to grow in different ways. So as a smart co, we help them to understand business plans, all this type of stuff. But then we actually go actively out and we help businesses to kind of evaluate what they're doing and stuff, and from a young person's perspective, how it could be better. And then normally what happens is from there, they're like, oh my, the meaning of the people that let us come. That's wonderful. You all should come and work for us. We would love to do that.
See,
And so we so
I,
we do proposals, we teach them to write the
yes,
proposals
yes.
and all this. And so we'll be doing a lot of that this summer. And we already have 3 clients that we'll be working with. And so it's a way to help the students to stay together, which is important.
Yes,
And then we get
yes.
to, like train them still, because I always say it's hard to just say, hey, yes, I'll use Miss Heaven again. Miss Heaven's a perfect worker, take her, if I've never worked with her. I need to work with my young people before I write you a reference letter. And the only way to do it, because again, they got to get paid, and so
Yes,
we're
ma'am.
always trying
Yes,
to make
ma'am.
sure we're finding ways to do that. But it's fun because we get to help them
I,
to for
uh,
the
Forgive me for interrupting, but I
go
just
ahead.
have to say at this point that somehow that audience has to grow. And I'll tell you, putting it in context, with those who are giving your young people opportunities for apprentice or to get tutored or mentored towards particular jobs. Now, here was Brother Fears, and he will provide for your opportunity to drive large vehicles across country and understand and know about them. And he is a wonderful, very serious gentleman. And here is Heaven Hart, who looks like she weighs about 7 pounds and she's maybe 11 years old and has the audacity to take over the conversation in a very good way. And what I mean by that is Attorney Valencia brought us, you and those adults with whom you work have given these young people the confidence, the comfort to have the audacity to be a real part of these conversations. And I notice that even when you let those of us who are older say a word or two, we are absolutely talking to, listening to, interacting with those young people. It's their meeting.
It is.
And I applaud you on that and pray that those potential employers will increase in numbers as we go. Let me do this real quickly. Brother Lewis George Walker is working with robotics contests, engineering, all kinds of things. And he and KUAW produce our program. And Brother Lewis has to go back and forth, but I always want him to give the KUAW access announcements. And before doing that, thank him for allowing this program to be possible. Here is founder Louis George Walker.
Hey, and thank you, Carl, and thank you everyone for listening to KUAW Radio Valencia and all of the crew of the Smart Club. This is KUAW Radio, and it's Kansas City's global community radio station. You can listen to us on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, and Twitch. You can also pick us up online at Get Me Radio, My Online Radio, the iTunes site. And if you have a smart speaker, you can get us on Google, Amazon. Just tell it to play KUAW radio and we'll come in there. We're videoing through our live broadcast, but we're on the air 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, playing some of the best of old school jazz and blues and giving you some community information. You can also listen to us with our partnership with KOJHFM 100.5, which is the Kansas City's original jazz house. So we thank you for listening. Continue and like and support us and tell your friends about KUAW Radio.
Amen. Thank you so very, very much, Brother Louis George Walker. And as we go back to Attorney Valencia brought us, we have brought up a few things. And you did mention that there were a few things that are that are important as we approach the summer. And not just necessarily days off, but whenever young people can be exposed to those people you take
Yes.
to them. So please go ahead.
You're right. It's being exposed to the amazing people out here that mentor them through osmosis just by being there,
Wow.
whenever they're, doing stuff.
Yes,
They're
ma'am.
always watching and listening, which is cool. And then of course through job stuff to help them to practice the
Hmm.
desires of work they want to do, and which is really great. And have good people in the companies that will mentor and lead them as well. That's important to have good supervisors and managers that will work with young people because they're going to make mistakes. So, so for those people in those companies, we try really hard to find those people that will say, okay, yeah, I don't mind training. So that's pretty good. The other big piece for our students is, saving money, getting them the bank accounts, taking them shopping. We're teaching them to cook. We're doing tire changing classes. We're doing a lot more of
Ah,
those life skill things, making
yes.
sure that, especially if they're gonna go away to college or
This is
students, they're
so
moving
good.
places. They're, I don't know, the students, a lot of them today, they're like, I'm moving to so and so. I mean, the Cal, I'm moving, and they really want to move. And so
Yes,
we talk about what's the cost of living there, or the house. We look up the houses. They
absolutely.
do vision boards. With that car you want.
Yes.
Everybody still want a Tesla. No, no, I'm just playing. But anyway, so they're like, yeah, that's what they want. And so we talk about that financial literacy and the banking and the fundraising. Um, One of the biggest things we really love to do at the end of every school year is we actually have a party for the graduates. And so we do it often at the skating rinks or kind of wherever they say, but at this party is where every student, they basically have a little table and they put all their stuff out there of who they are and stuff and
Okay.
where they're going to school. And
Yes.
we still skate and bowl and everything, but that's how we're showcasing them. And so they set that up. And so Mr. Micah, our president of the Career Club, he'll be giving us that date. And so that is also the time where we do shower them with gifts, whether it's, $5, $6, but it's kind of a way we're having a Career Club graduation party to where we celebrate them. But then we also, bring everybody they've met over their 4 years with us, especially in high
Wow.
school. We invite everybody just to come, and if you know them
Outstanding.
and whatever, that's how we try to find a way to give them that extra dollars. But it's a party to celebrate, and their families come and stuff too. And but it's no program. We're just hanging out. But the showcase is their table. So people we can go and look at their pictures and stuff. So that's fun. But they put that together
Yes.
too. So we don't they plan it all. They
Well,
plan everything.
let me ask that you do this as we prepare to go to our first break. Let me ask that you give contact information, and this contact information would be not only for the young people who want to participate, but parents, guardians, prospective employers, and others. Contact information, please.
My name is Valencia Broadus, and you can reach us at my phone number. You can text me is the best way to reach me, and I'll text you back quickly, 816-612-1083. Or you can email us at chw.healthiswealth@gmail.com. chw.healthiswealth@gmail.com. And
Thank
so,
you.
because health is wealth. So
All
that's
right, that's wonderful. And we're going to ask that you repeat it later on in the program. Right now, here is DeQuay Wilson.
Reminding our 7th through 12th grade students that you can win a monetary award from our sponsoring organization, Suits for Boots. You'll write an essay which will be titled Heroes You Know You Didn't Know Were Heroes. Your content will identify a veteran at your school who can be absolutely anyone, administrator, teacher, custodian, absolutely anyone. If your essay is chosen and submitted by an adult, excuse me, who gives you permission to read it on this Waive Your Grades program, you will be awarded a monetary prize. For entry or inquiry, please send an email to academicpatriotism@gmail.com. That is academicpatriotism@gmail.com. Now back to our host, Carl Boyd.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you were to have even a brief discussion with my wife, wonderful Wanda, she would attest to the fact that since my celebration of my last birthday, I am filled with stories. So I want to make a particular point to our very special guest, attorney Valencia Broadus, by telling a story. And this is already 2025, and this was in, I think, 1995. I am a member of NABSE, the National Alliance of Black School Educators. In fact, I am a life member, National Association of Black School Educators. And they sent out a notice that you could submit a song that would be in the running for the NAPSE song. It is an international organization. And indeed, if they selected your song, yours would be, quote, the NAPSE song. And I spent a little time, and I indeed submitted my song. It was only, less than 2 weeks when I received a response, and it just turned out that my song was chosen. So I am the author of the National Association of Black School Educators for submitting for that contest the song that I wrote called the NAPSE song. Now let me tell you why I told that story to attorney Valencia Broadus. Because it turns out I was the only one who submitted a song. So my competition wasn't great. And this many years later, I can say that I am the composer of the NAPSE song. Now, DeQuay Wilson, why did I tell that story to attorney Valencia Broadus? Because, Valencia, we are not receiving responses for our essay contest. You work for some wonderful young people. Gerald Caldwell, former commander for VFW Post 8100, has committed a monetary prize. Now, it just might be that one member of the SMART, however, Valencia knows that the member of the SMART Club who gave us the model letter happened to have a very special letter. Whether it's the only one or not, it was really well done. So I just said that to remind you that when our sister DeQuay Wilson makes the announcements, that is a legitimate announcement. So who knows? Might be another rendition of the Napsy song.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. And I just want to say right there really quick, Miss Syria, who submitted that essay, she graduates in a couple of weeks from
What?
college.
Come
Right.
on.
Yes, she graduates. Isn't that something?
Outstanding.
So, she'll be here around Easter and all that.
That's
So,
fantastic. Well,
I did.
let
I'll tell
me.
her about that too.
But I'm telling you, I'm very serious when I say
I know.
that hers was
So
so well done, and the blessing that we had at that time was that in studio, she and Carl Evans, about whom she wrote, were in the studio together. So it might very well be that the winner of the essay contest this time will be able to come on with the person they write about. So,
excellent. So one of the things that um we have, for example, a student going to the military. The thing is that a lot of the students, their family members aren't in the military, and so I know does the person has to be a veteran, a military person, right?
yes, he does, or she.
Or she does it, right? So yeah, that's what we're finding because we've talked about that a couple of times, and
And
um,
by the way, it does not have to be a family member. Oh well, obviously you know that because you know that Syria and Carl
no, no,
went
you're
together.
right.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so yes, the only one that we're finding right now through the recruiting, these meeting military people,
Yes, I
but
see. Good, good,
um,
good. I have a question for Attorney Valencia Broadus.
yes,
We are more than halfway through the program, and somehow I have not heard you utter a phrase like, "Oh no." Now let me tell you why I'm setting it up this way. You work with young people who are introduced to a variety of sources and resources, and as a matter of fact, even places that you visit or contests that you entered, all of those kinds of things. The reason I am pointing out that I don't hear Attorney Valencia Broadus or Paris Holly or others saying, oh no, is because we are in the throes of an era that has political turmoil at the local and national, and because of that, the international level. Yet, I don't feel the vibe from you that you are preparing the young people for all of the chaos that is going on or that might be inevitable. How do you maintain your demeanor and help them to continue to matriculate in spite of all the stuff that's going on?
that's good. So I actually am preparing them for what may come.
Okay.
And so we prepare them through making sure that they're just educated on, not even from on a political spectrum,
Ooh,
but
yes.
they have to read the news with me. And so I see students at least, 5 times a week, different students. And so as I'm talking with them,
Wow.
I'm asking, hey, did you see that? Or I'm quick on, I'm famous for the 7 o'clock text messages, AM. That must be Miss B. But sometimes, you know, something's, happening. I'm like, hey, read this. Tell me what you think. And they really know that I really mean read it, tell me what you think. And
Wow.
so those who read it and
That
whoever
is
gets me the
so
answer
good.
back fastest, then they'll get $20. I mean, so pay for performance is my thing. And so that's the reason we're always
Wow.
fundraising, because they're young people and they're motivated by, things and money and stuff. It is what it is, so we do that. Um, so a lot of it is like, I'm texting 9 students. Hey, what do you think about this? Okay. And they know in their
Wow.
mind that if whoever responds fast, they're
Is that
and it
right?
can't be just oh, that sounds good. No, they don't know. I don't do that. No. Tell me what you think about. It's just whatever
Now,
it is,
my goodness,
So
DeQuay, I don't know if you had an opportunity to hear her response to what I was saying,
no,
but let me assure you, it was not a set-up question. I didn't realize that she was doing that, and that is a wonderful, wonderful thing. That is so very, very important.
no, thank
And
you.
one of the questions that I have for people with whom I talk, particularly those who are young, uh, when you have to consider pessimism versus optimism, is that something that occupies a lot of your mind? From what you're doing, it makes me optimistic. But as you see things that are going on, how do you measure between the two?
So kids traditionally aren't um pessimistic about
Hmm.
the future or anything like that, but they're also sometimes not optimistic about it either. They're living the day to day. They're
Okay.
just kind of living
Okay.
and cruising through life,
Yes.
So the reason that current events is important, for example, kids going to college.
Yes.
Now it was
Yes.
important to help them to understand because we make them choose 3 to 5 colleges very early on to research and all this type of stuff, know the ACT score and entrance and grades and all that. So once, for example, the news came out that certain colleges
Yes.
definitely are not, I
Yeah.
mean, whether they want to or not, they are not going to be given points because you're minority or female or
Yes.
nothing. So it was important for me to share the news in a way that said, hey, you guys, we just need to know. We got to work harder and show how greater we are because of
Yes.
this information,
Yes.
just whatever it is, whatever the information is. And they say, what? I'm like, I know. But what are we going to do about it? I mean, a lot of it is what we're going to do about it. That's all I want to
Right.
know. I mean, whatever it is, it is. What are we going to do about it? And so that's the take I take because one of the things I learned early in my law practice career at Stinson, the firm, one of the things they wrote about me in the paper, I mean, whatever, is they said at the end of the day, Miss Valencia Broadus will figure it out.
All
Period.
right. Now you're talking.
And I'm like,
Now you're talking.
And so I never thought about that much, but since
Hmm.
then, I've always used that. At the end of the day, you gotta figure out
Yes, ma'am.
what's next. What are you gonna do? And so, I try to train my mentors to do that. Whatever is going on with the young person, okay, what are we going to do about it? How do we overcome it? So it's also teaching them resilience that no matter what, there's a way to
Yes.
figure it out. We got to work through it.
That's
So,
outstanding.
so that's kind of why I think it's a little bleak actually, but my energy falls on them. And so if I'm
Okay.
coming in being
Okay.
humdrum and oh my gosh, the sky's falling
I've
and all
never
that,
seen that.
they're feeling that, oh, you're right, Miss V, and then they have no hope. We
Mm.
must sell hope. We must deliver hope. If we can't do nothing else with these young people, we must deliver hope. And then if they have hope, they'll let us help them. And so hope and help go together.
Wow.
So that's the big reason is the more that no matter what's happening, teaching them entrepreneurship now. Definitely, there's tons of jobs out here. I do think, unfortunately, not just young people, but the skill set to fill a lot of the available jobs, technology, stuff like that.
Yes.
We all need to be working with Mr.
Yes.
Walker to be learning more about, seriously
Absolutely.
coding and all of
Absolutely.
that and the STEM stuff. So that's why a lot of the jobs are empty, not because there are no jobs. So if kids are,
Hmm.
worrying about jobs or anybody, how do we help them to just be a little more motivated and excited about getting some more skills so you can make that money, getting
Yes. Now, staying right there, one of the things that I think about is diversity, equity, and inclusion. Now, someone else has taken DEI and has used it or has played upon it or reduced it to being something that is negative and or viewed, quote, as an excuse, unquote, to hire somebody or do something? Does it even come into your vocabulary? And how have you met this phenomenon of destroying DEI or diversity, equity, inclusion?
It's interesting. Thank you for asking that question. Um, Even though that's happening, around the country or whatever, that it's kind of being taboo and you can't say it, making everybody change their language, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So since everyone in the hiring or the schools having to change their language, we just have to pivot and adjust to it. And it's
Okay.
really just about merit anyway. So now it's really about
Yes.
if you are
Yes.
amazing, how you going to show it? So that's why we make sure we're doing the resumes now.
Hmm.
We're emphasizing not just that we're caring and compassionate and stuff like that. We're showing we're caring and compassionate and we deliver. Again, pay for performance. People will pay you for performance.
That's right.
And now with this merit thing,
That's
it's
right.
even more important. So we talk with the young people a lot about no matter what's happening, who do you want to work for? Where are they? How do we network with them? How do we volunteer with them? The more visible we are and showing our great selves all over the community, people are going to be like, well, I met that young person. And we follow up a lot, sending them our resumes, just saying hi, hi, we are whoever we are,
Yes.
and we met you, and teaching them that networking thing because it still really is about, who you know equally or even more important than what you know. And so no matter what, the DEI stuff, it's it's not dead because the chambers of commerce,
Hmm.
if you read all the stuff that they're talking about,
Yes.
they know
Yes.
that um, diversification, whatever you want to call it, makes sense to the bottom line.
Yes.
So we have to figure out the
Yes.
way to make sure that we're getting in front of those individuals who believe it for real that, okay, this really makes a difference because of who we serve. But we got to be seen and we got to be showing that we're doing things in a spirit of excellence. That's what sets us apart so that later on, because they're not gonna, even if they like you, if they've got this thing hanging over their head, because they're going through people's records and stuff in these companies, this is crazy. But anyway, so as they're
Yes.
doing that, they don't want to be caught. Like the universities, they're getting all their funding pulled because they're going in and auditing, they're going into their files. So we still have to send the best of us on paper so that
Yes.
we don't accidentally get them in trouble for hiring a DEI. We know I'm good. I'm great.
You
I'm
know,
excellent.
and
Sorry.
let us be honest about it. As a matter of fact, too often we neglect to alert the general public to the fact that DEI does not mean Black, Hispanic, and Native American. So that mass media of various types want to attach that to Black folks only from the urban core. And if we look at writers who are being honest and reporters who are being honest, and you find out the degree to which, for instance, white American females benefit from DEI, but it isn't put in that context at the time that they do, it really is not literally what someone is trying to make it. So, in case no one else has told you, Attorney Valencia Broaddus, you are extremely valuable to young people, not only from the standpoint of providing opportunities to take steps forward, but also to understand what that means within the context of a far future than a few dollars in the next 2 years.
It goes back to their confidence and comfort. Because if everything around you is being cut, you begin to say, well, maybe I don't really deserve anything since I don't know how to fight the systems. That's why we must navigate them.
Wow.
That's why we must
Yes.
continue to, say, no, it's okay. Come on, come on. So the more that they volunteer and they do a good job and all of that, you're going to be more likely to say, where's heaven or where's Kevon or where's we're going to be more
Yes.
likely to
Yes.
say, where are they? So getting young people, older people too, in
Yes,
a
ma'am.
sense of volunteering if you can't get paid right away. Because you still have to, unfortunately, you got to put your time in. Well, you know how we say all that. Putting your
Absolutely.
time in is
Absolutely.
about volunteering and
Yes.
showing up and helping people, researching where you want to work, finding a way to network. Um, to even school stuff. We do a big deal on whatever school they want to go to. We help them to, contact the alumni and talk about,
Yes.
hi, I'm interested in your school, black or white. I don't care who they are, but we have to teach them to fight and speak and advocate for what they want. And then that increases the comfort and confidence no matter what's going on. Because when
Now,
people email you back and say, oh, hi, Miss, they'll call me. They won't even text me. They'll call me. Miss V, what you doing? I got an email. They're so funny.
well, now,
These,
let me ask this of you as
yes,
I pose the next question. Please
yes.
include within your answer contact
Oh,
information once again. And the question before the contact information is age range of the ideal participant of young people. The other is, along with that, is there a particular dateline for young people who want to become involved in what your young people do? Do they have to wait until the school year begins in August? Or can they call you next week and set up some time within the next few weeks? How does that go?
so I'll answer and then okay.
And
So um
then give the contact information.
right. It's rolling.
Okay, good.
It's career club. You can join anytime you want to, as long as you're ready to jump in and volunteer and get stronger at reading, writing, critical thinking, public speaking, networking, event planning, because we go do things, and so it's transportation is always important and key. And so we make sure the students know that we're gonna be talking with your parents, and so it's important that if that's not something they're comfortable with, then the career club probably isn't for them. But we figure it out because once their friends are doing it, and that's how we spread the word, really, the students say,
Good
you
point.
ain't part of career club, and so
Right.
they're like, okay. So then they'll, say, Miss V, send me an app for them. And then everyone knows I need to at least talk with your parents and stuff, like that. So
Yes.
um, the age range we prefer is 8th through 12th. We like to talk with students if we can in 8th grade so that we can talk a little bit more about before they transition into high school.
Okay.
Sometimes that's
Yes.
hard, you
Yes.
know. But definitely we're a high school career club. 8th grade is good so that they can see, what's happening. And because we try to help our high schoolers to tutor and mentor and volunteer with younger people. So we're trying to, it's kind of teaching the older ones to be a light for younger ones, which is why we don't really focus heavily on middle school or elementary. And you can reach me at 816-612-1083. Texting me is the best way to get a response fast.
Hmm.
Um, and then the email is the most perfect way, and that is CHW, Community Health Worker. So you'll know with CHW dot health is wealth at gmail.com. CHW dot health is wealth at gmail.com. That's what we're telling the kids. Health is wealth. We don't care how much money you have. If you're not healthy, you ain't gonna be able to spend it well
Wow.
anyway.
Good
And
point.
so and so we teach them to give those presentations
Yes.
on health and wealth.
Well, one of the things that is extremely important as far as this program is concerned is that we don't get away with your not having said something that is very important to this particular presentation. So, is there something that we need to make sure we cover before we go?
Oh, yes, please. So we definitely want to make sure that we are saying thank you to everyone at Samuel Rogers,
Oh, yes.
to Miss Lorena, Mr. Rory, Mr. Nunley, Miss Nana, Mr. Carl Boyd. There were a bunch of people that our young people, they assisted in planning this a real nutrition Samuel Rogers Women's Day history, presentation. And so we had about 25, 26 people that came out, and they listened to, of course, about the amazing people at Samuel Rogers, and how Samuel Rogers, what he did is he took people who could relate to the everyday public. They didn't have all them highfalutin
Come
degrees,
on.
not all of them. A few
Yes.
did, but not most of them didn't. And he took these amazing women and said, based on what you know, make your community better. And so he tapped talent and said, I know what I need to make the community grow. So that's what we really do with our young people. So it was a
Yes,
really
indeed.
exciting presentation. The young people liked it. And so we were able also to leave that day with asking all the people that came out to support that
Yes,
presentation and the young people, we were able to ask all of you all, what can we do to help you? And that's for our young people. They're going to be using that information that you said, maybe y'all could help us do X as a part of our
exactly.
thank you. So we'll be getting in touch through because it gives the young people projects. That's important. They got to
Well,
have something to do. So
well, let me
we're
say,
so thankful. We're so thankful.
well, you used the expression before we leave that day. So let me use that expression. Before we leave that day, let me ask Valencia brought us this question because I'm not quite sure. Do you have any idea how long Jim Nunley has been affiliated with Samuel Rogers? And we don't have time, obviously, to capture what he does and what he has done. But just about how long was that? Do you remember?
So I think it's been 50 years at
Yes.
least. And here's the reason. Because he's been doing writing for the Call paper for 50 plus years. And before he started writing with the Call paper, he was already at Samuel Rogers, or was Wayne Minor then maybe even, but helping to help Wayne Minor to transition with, of course, Samuel Rogers, the great institution that it is. So he has to have been affiliated for 50 years at least.
Well, now, with that in mind, particularly, but generally speaking, if you don't already have one, it is certainly time that the Smart Club and its affiliates pay a general secretary who will put down historical notes, take you back to where you started, whatever it was that you started, and then folks like Jim Nunley and people with whom you work. It would be well to have those available to talk about your history. So if you haven't done it, please start logging now.
Okay, and we haven't. And that's what Jim Nunley tells me all the time. When are you gonna write this? I'm
Yeah,
like,
is that
okay,
right?
okay.
So that's
Yes, you're
not a
right.
not a coincidence. That's providential, and the Lord is speaking to us.
He is. I think so often it's so easy just to do the work and not. And he says you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to memorialize what you're. So you are right. She said, yes,
Okay, thank you.
yes, yes, yes.
And
You know what? We'll do it this summer. It'll be a project because it'll make sense
now you're
since we have
talking.
people.
Please
Yep, we'll
do.
do it.
All right.
You'll see.
We have come to the end of the hour, which is amazing because we don't always get an opportunity to talk one on one. So I thank you for your patience with us and spending the entire afternoon. God bless you, Attorney Valencia Brothers.
Thank you, Mr. Quay, and everybody. I haven't said hi to you yet. Thank you, Mr. Boyd, for having me. Appreciate you a lot.
You are more than welcome. Here is Mr. Quay.
Well, I would definitely like to thank our very special guests, our listeners, and our viewers for joining us on your Stoots for Boots Wave Your Grades program. We come to you live every Saturday from 1 until 2 p.m. Central Standard Time from the WEB Du Bois Learning Center right here in Kansas City, Missouri. I am your announcer, DeQuay Wilson. Now our host, Carl Boyd, will close with either Carl's commentary on academic patriotism or his daily message for students in honor of our veterans from his book, Morning Messages.
Well, before I read from Morning Messages, since you gave me the opportunity to have a commentary, my commentary is Attorney Valencia Broadus can't wait for the recording of that very special history. And now, to students across the USA, your Stoots for Boots message for this day. April 12th. They wear different uniforms for a creed that is uniform. They give their best to protect your best. This has been Wave Your Grades. Our very special guest, Attorney Valencia Broaddus, and your producer, engineer, announcer, co-host. She's a peach, DeQuay Wilson. My name is Carl Boyd, a gracious God and wonderful Wanda. I'm on my way home.